Welcome once again to Conscripted, episode 39. Now officially the longest running series on my channel. We rejoin the party as they arrive at the gates of Chrysaisen on the 16th of Andurum. The bright lights of the city, the bright light of the city of Chrysaisen spans out even slightly over the outskirts of the city itself. The wall that surrounds Chrysaisen is massive and well guarded. As there, you can see up top a number of people moving about. There is only one gate into Chrysaisen via the land, and that is the front gate, or at least one gate that people are allowed to enter, and is a very wide and tall gate. The gate spans 40 feet in width, and the doors span about 50 feet in height. One of the guards shouts down to you, and shouts as if he were much closer to the ground than he actually is with his shouting. Welcome! I see you're military, yes?
Correct.
Excellent. You're always welcome here. I hope you have a pleasant stay.
You too.
All right. You all may head in.
Charisma 7. Gotta keep it real.
Sure, I'm starting the right music here for this. So, as you guys cross the threshold and move into Chrysaisen, one of the first things that those of you who have never been here before will notice is that Chrysaisen is well lit everywhere. There is not an ounce of the city, except maybe some heavily covered areas, that isn't at least lit bright to some degree. The streets there's very little shadowing on the streets except in the alleys. There is a lot of ambient decorated lighting coming from signage or from the buildings themselves. Nothing about Chrysaisen really leaves a lot in the dark. And everything is very, very clean. And people move about here rather rapidly. But the most interesting thing you'll notice as you arrive in Chrysaisen is that all feelings of frustration or anger or hostility or disappointment or excessive joy all kind of fade away and leave you with this kind of feeling of just emotional neutrality.
Yup.
Yeah, Zeke is feeling very weird then.
Mm-hmm. What is everybody's plan as they enter into this new town?
I mean, most immediately I would just be gauging whether it looks to be the same as I remember it. If anything's changed dramatically.
No, there are no dramatic changes. The nice thing that a lot of people feel about Chrysaisen is that even if there were large changes, it would be hard to feel them with how massive the city is and how bright everything is. You'd have to really spend some time looking for the changes that are here to find them. Sorry, I'm looking for music and I'm not having the luck I wanted because I did not plan this out ahead.
All right, so I was, wanting to find this dude that I have incredible hatred for. So now with this feeling of neutrality, do I not care as much about it? Is that...
You still feel the compulsion to want to search for him, but it's not an overwhelming anger-driven kind of feeling. It's more like I need to find this guy. like more casual.
Okay.
I know Sphinx is on the lookout for the one inn that she has notes from.
Yeah, from the book from Shax.
Yeah.
Okay. I think. Yeah. That's the one. Make sure the sound is not too loud. Get some of that playing. And a little bit of this playing. All right. So you want to go look for that inn. Is that what you guys want to start off by doing, is maybe finding a place to call temporary home first?
Yep. Yeah, I don't see any reason to.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can track down the inn. And now I have to find my notes, because I don't remember the name of this place.
It was something Jade related.
Yes. Oops, that's the wrong campaign notes.
Got him.
Yes, it is the Jade Rune House. She would also have notes about, I believe, the Tricky Staff Inn as well. So you have two. The Tricky Staff Inn is the one where one of her party members disappeared for some time and made things better for her or for the rest of the party. The Jade Rune House is the one that specifically Shaxid went to stay at, which is a very wizard-friendly place that has a lot of very private areas for study or other things. But I'm assuming you're taking them to the Jade Rune House on that note, and not to the Tricky Staff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dang, the tricky one sounded interesting.
Oh,
Just go disappear into La La Land for a while?
Tricky Staff is a lot of fun. So the six of you will make your way to the Jade Rune House. When you arrive, there is an older man that runs this establishment. He has a long, flowing beard. Looks almost like sort of classically wizardly. Welcome to the Jade Rune House. We offer the most... sorry, it's been a long day. We offer the greatest privacy of anywhere you've ever been. How may I be of service to you? You notice that as you come in, there is not a lot of sound. There are people at tables, but even the act of somebody setting down a drink or somebody flipping through pages of a book is relatively soundless. This room, unlike the streets outside, is the right level of dimly lit, where everything is illuminated in a way that is cleanly visible, but also the light doesn't luminesce out far enough to make areas feel too bright, or even at a relatively the level of brightness does not seem to be negative in any way, regardless of what your sensitivity to light might otherwise be.
I like it.
You all look to be from the military, well, aside from that one. Although I'm sure he'd prefer my services here the best. What can I do for you?
A couple rooms for indeterminate amount of time.
And what level of privacy would you be interested in?
Maximum.
Yep.
Very good, that can be arranged. And you do not know the duration of your stay?
Is there a discount for a longer stay, or?
Yes, but if you're not certain about the duration of your stay, I'll need to take a deposit with an expectation of money afterwards.
What's the cost of one of the the most protected rooms?
The most protected rooms are 100 gold per evening.
Well then,
This will provide you with near unlimited protection. You have a room that is virtually indestructible, a room that is virtually impenetrable from the eyes of the outside, a room that is nearly impenetrable from thieves, bandits, or any number of, even many levels of high arcane thieves.
Sounds good to me.
I like that. How big is the room?
The rooms are about 20 by 20, so they are quite large. We offer limited library resources via a bookshelf you will have in your room for that price. That bookshelf has a spontaneous swap policy for books. If you have a book you specifically want, you may simply remove a book, place a slip of a special sheet of vellum that we have into the slot, and then push the book over top of it, pull the book back out, and it will be that book instead of the book that was there before.
That's mighty interesting. You said they're 20 feet by 20 feet?
Yes. And one of the most comfortable beds you will have ever slept on. However, we expect that many of our patrons will likely not be sleeping.
And I don't know, how long do you think we'll be here, you guys?
Oh, I should also mention that for 100 gold, sleep will not be an issue. You will not need to sleep if you choose not to, and it will not exhaust you in any way. However, you will need to choose to sleep if you wish to regain your spells. I have not yet mastered a way to make that happen. But your sleep will be much shorter than it would traditionally be.
So you came up with all this stuff then?
I have worked a long time to perfect my art of making sure that people can perfect theirs. I wanted a place where it would be safe for wizards to work on their projects, away from the prying eyes of the outside world, but also away from those who would love to steal from those who want this privacy. This place is well protected as well, so I would advise you to be careful here about what it is that you do within the walls. Anything you do within the room is your own business. If you set off a fireball in your room and you die, I will be notified and we will clean it up. But we will also hold you accountable for any damage dealt to property in the room, in whatever manner we can. So if there are any leftovers and someone does not resurrect you, we will be taking your leftovers. But the rooms are not otherwise monitored. We are simply checking for vital signs within the room if there is a person within the room. That is the only thing that we check for. And this is also to make sure that if we identify someone that is maybe losing a large amount of blood or having some other physiological problem, we can dispatch a team there to help them at a moment's notice, just in case something does happen to slip by our protective wards. So I didn't put that on loop.
So approximately how many people could fit in a 20 by 20 room?
Rooms are one per person unless you are partnered to each other.
Okay. I'm not planning to spend a lot of time here. I have some other business. What other tiers of rooms do you have?
There are lower tiers. If you want resistive measures in other rooms, they drop down. And they basically are you losing certain protective elements and putting yourself slightly more at risk for each tier down you drop. 50 gets you a little less than half the protections you will have in our primary room. 20 will get you roughly an eighth of the protections in the primary room. 10 will get you a room that has a good lock on it and will help bolster you against any sort of outside effects. But 10 is our lowest price. If that is too expensive for you, there are plenty of other inns you could stay at just down the road.
If it sounds like it's at least better than like that, like I said, Mal is not planning to spend a lot of time in the inn. I know like maybe Erebos might be, and like other people like Zeke might. But like at least for me, I'm not gonna be in the inn a lot. So, but at least having a little something extra like for sleeping seems useful. So like if it's at least still useful, I would do the 10 gold. But if it's like so little at that point that it doesn't help, then I don't even know if it'd be worth it staying here. This seems like more of a private thing than Mal necessarily wanted.
Okay. Well, it's hard for you to identify what the difference is without actually experiencing it.
I'll stay at least one night here, and I'll see how it feels.
Okay.
And then kind of gauge from there. But at least I'll be staying in the lower room, the 10 room.
Okay. So you're going to pay for one night, so that'll be 10 gold. Anybody else who wants to stay for an indeterminate amount of time will need to pay the equivalent of 10 nights up front.
Yeah, so 100 platinum?
Yes, it would be 100 platinum.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Do we get, if we do stay less than that, do we get a refund though?
If you do stay less than that, you do get your money refunded, yes.
Okay.
It is simply a deposit on the room. They will need your full name, and they will need you to register with a handprint.
I'll let me do like knowledge arcana for the handprint.
Absolutely. This looks pretty rudimentary. It is basically just simply taking an image. Like it is basically taking a copy of your handprint, the size, some of the features of it, but it does not appear to do anything more than that.
Right. Would I need like a spellcraft or something to determine like if some sort of like spells that might harm me could use that, or?
No, from Knowledge Arcana, there's nothing really that can do much from a handprint. The handprint is largely giving them a way to track you down in the event of other problems occurring.
Right. Yep. I'll do it. Zeke Leopold, handprint, and 100 platinum.
Okay.
How much for a magic item creation? How much could be done per day, like as far as value?
In here, if you were working in this place, you can work for it is based on your spell points. So effectively every 8 hours of work on a magical item is a batch of like spell points for that specific thing. So like you normally spend a spell over an 8 hour a specific spell points over a period of time. So you could like continue another 8 hours and continue another 8 hours, just reusing that spell that spell casting over and over again in the production of that item. But there is no direct limit except your spell point total.
Well, because I was going to offer to get a room for Sphinx if she'd be able to help me out with this item.
Well, I mean, I was already planning on getting a room.
Yeah, but it's going to take a little while, and I would want to make sure that it's a protected room. So that's what I was trying to figure out. Because I couldn't remember the amount in gold value that could be done per...
It's 1,000 gold per 8 hour segment here.
Okay, gotcha.
Or no, 2,000. Is it 2,000 gold? I
thought I read that it was 1,000.
No,
It's 1,000 if you double it.
Okay.
1,000's the base.
That's what I thought. Okay.
But 2,000 is if you rush it, or?
Yeah.
But here, that would not be essential necessarily, since you have
Okay.
literally every segment. It's a segment of 10 hours technically here, but so you could get through 3 segments in a day.
If you really pushed it.
You aren't pushing it. There is no pushing it here. There is no exhaustion to be caused for you. There is no emotional strife to be caused to you. This is like them literally renting a high-end room here is the most comfortable thing you could ever do in your entire life.
Also, I meant to ask, is that for the cost of creating it, right? Like, so whatever the cost to create it would be.
No, your cost is based on the production price. That is the creation time. Creation time is based on production price or final price.
Oh, okay. So if something was like 10,000, it would cost for the 10,000, not for the 5,000.
Correct.
Okay. Oh, that's gonna be some time then. Let me total this up and
Okay.
see if I can even afford that.
All right. Is anybody else taking a room here?
You already got me right.
You're paying. You got to pay the money up front. So 100
Okay.
platinum. Okay.
I already took it off.
Then you're good.
I'll probably do the same one. Mal's doing the same, like the 10 gold one.
Okay. For the full deposit or just for one night?
I'll probably do the full deposit, so 100 gold.
Okay. Yep. That is it. He'll inform those of you that stay here that you do not need a hand. You do not need. There's no card. There's no keys. There's nothing like that. The room is identified to you directly, and will not allow anyone else in unless you allow them in yourself. There is only one door to go through, and people should not enter the door at the same time. It does create some weird side effects. But if you want to get to another room, you simply leave through your door, turn, and think about the door of the person you wish to interact with, knock at the door, and you will be knocking at their door. Please note, however, that the knocks are rather soft, and any distracted person may not be able to hear the knock, regardless of how strong you pound.
Yeah. What time of the day is it right now?
You have no way of knowing that, as you don't have a watch. It's daytime. All the time. You don't know how long you took to travel. You really don't have like a scope of how long it took you to travel through town, because some of the roads are kind of windy. So getting from place to place can take a little more time than you might normally expect. There's no real sense of time here.
Can I ask the innkeeper what time it is?
He will inform you that it is a little after second sunset. So it is close to the end of a traditional day, a few hours out.
Well, if that's the case, I would just tell everyone. It may take some time before I can find out who Zeke's friend is, but should just meet back here every day and just make sure everyone's okay at some point. For the most part, people can do whatever they wish. I have some catching up to do, and it may take me some time to finish the things that I want to work on. So just stay in touch so we know that everyone's okay.
Sounds good.
I would probably just tune in for the night then. It's been a long trip.
Okay.
Try out this room.
Yep. So when you enter the room will be lit automatically. The room has a window in it, but the window kind of looks out into almost like nowhere unless you visualize something, and then the window will look out to somewhere. But light does come in from the window. But the light that illuminates the room does not seem to be the light from the window. The room just seems to be lit. There's no light in the ceiling. There's no light on the floors. The room is just at a certain light level. But if you draw the shades closed, the light will disappear from the room.
Yeah, I'd take some time to put my stuff and things away.
Okay.
I would then just unwind and maybe write my journal a little bit, and then just close the blinds and try and get some shut-eye.
Okay. That will be easy enough to do, as nothing really pressing seems to be bothering you in your mind.
Sphinx, you got the expensive one, right?
Yeah.
Cool. You mind if I talk to you in there for a minute
Sure.
about this thing?
I'm sorry,
that I
sir.
wanted to
I'm
get?
going to need you to either purchase a room here, or I'm going to need you to sign a waiver. Which would you prefer?
The waivers. Might I ask what the waiver's for?
The waiver is a waiver which will expel you from the room if you are there past a certain time. It is sort of a curfew limitation to prevent people from trying to piggyback on room stays.
Sure. Yeah. What time would it kick me out of there? What time is it now?
At the high point of the moon's rise.
How long do we got until that happens?
You've got a few hours. You've got quite a few hours before then.
Okay, sure. I'll sign the waiver. I'll look it over to see if there's anything on there that stands out from what he said. But
Sure. If you don't have any ranks in knowledge law, give me a knowledge history here.
oof.
Or local. But you haven't really had a lot of time, so your local is at a penalty.
Is this a dungeon?
Nope.
What about a perception?
There he is. Nope. I gotta rearrange cameras now. Thanks, John.
Well, if I rent the room, would I be able to stay? Well, if I rented a separate room, would I be able to stay in there until that time? Or
You would be able to. There
'cause I was gonna
is
get a room anyways.
there is still a policy that exists, but he informs you that enforcement is not heavy-handed, but they really do frown upon excessive staying in each other's rooms.
Oh, that's fine. I just wanted to have a quick chat about something that I didn't want overheard by some things.
Okay.
And you said the low one was 10 a night, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. So I'll buy ever since everybody else is buying a block of 10, I'll go ahead and do that too.
Okay. Well, not everybody else. I mean,
Or Rod did, right?
yeah.
All right, and then Sphinx did too, I think, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm honestly not even sure where I'll be staying for most of my time.
All right, I'll get one of the 10 ones for 10
Okay.
for 10 nights.
And John, I know you missed out on a lot, but they went to the Jade Rune House, which is basically a very private place. There are rooms ranging from 100 gold down to 10 gold, cut into kind of pieces. So it's 150, 20, 150, 20, and 10. And they are basically privacy levels. 100 is a near guarantee of perfect privacy. 50 is like a significant decline from that. 20 is a much more substantial decline from that. And 10 is like there is some level of privacy. There is some level of potential privacy you'll get from being there. And this is per night in GP.
Per person.
Did all
Per
the rooms
person.
have the library access, or just the?
Only the 100 gold one has the library access. So yeah, you also get a bookshelf of things, and if you know titles of books, you can take a book out, write down a name on a piece of vellum, put it into the bookshelf, put the book back, and that book will change into the book that you requested. Assuming it is in the great library of the town.
Is anything stopping us from just using the normal library?
No, you can use the normal library as you want.
But this is
Okay.
super secret.
Yeah,
too,
this is
that you
the
can look at
most
stuff.
private thing that the most private place you can get. Well, the most private place you guys know about right now that you can get. I guess you technically might have some more knowledge about the town if you didn't want to stay here.
Yeah, I was just wondering like what the party's plan was. Like, what are we doing? Are we just
So right now,
Your own thing,
Spinks, and Zeke
Rod.
have both bought. No, Rod, and did you take the high end room? I thought you took the low end room.
Oh,
Yeah. So Spinks
sorry,
and
I thought
Rod
you
took
did.
the highest end room.
Sorry,
Ra
Spinks.
and Cassius took the
I'm paying
lowest tier
100
room,
platinum
and
for a fancy room.
Mal took one night of the lowest class room here.
right? What I mean is like, did the party say like what our goals are? Are we all chilling in here
no.
to research? Or
We really just like came to the inn to start off with, and then Mal is kind of just like, I've got my own shit to do, so everyone kind of just do whatever you want and check in periodically, and so there's
check in
no
where
real.
here?
I mean, I would assume just like check in with him periodically, so he knows like we're all alive and kicking it in the city.
Yeah,
Okay,
Mel's gonna be at this place for the next day, or he has
Yeah.
1 day's worth of room.
So he said he doesn't know where he's gonna be staying, so it may just be one of those things where we just have to like find him and
I mean,
Check
if
it.
everyone's staying in one spot, I would go there every night and just check in with you guys.
yeah. So it's sort
Okay,
of like
yeah.
Yeah, even the tables here are really secretive.
Yeah, there's no like sound coming from anywhere within even the like small inn area that you're standing in.
So if I have any knowledge of where I could stay, because I don't really care about this stuff, I guess.
Okay, so then it just depends on what your tastes are for where you want to stay.
Like with my knowledge of like
He's
how I don't
he's
get
going with
tired and how I
the
like, do
other
I even need
option.
somewhere to stay? Technically.
I mean, that's up to you. If you want to engage
I
in
used to
certain,
live here. Do I know?
if you want to engage in certain role-playing encounters, then we can go down that road. And I am excited. I'm sorry. I am okay with us going down that road.
You can earn some money doing that too and get some contacts.
I just mean like my general knowledge of the city. What is my like thought of like where I should be?
I think that depends on how you perceive your interactions with your family or other people that you might know in town. This is marginally up to you and partially up to things you don't know about that have transpired over probably for your life decades.
I think I'd try to. I don't know if you read my like note thing, but
Mhm.
I think I'd try to like. I don't know if it's possible to like sneak into my family shop or try to just like do stuff in there without them.
Oh, I assure you, you already know that that's impossible. You have a family that were like arcane historians, like they are arcane archivists. Their house is like protected with guards and wards, the likes of which most people have never seen or will ever have access to.
Okay, I'll try seeing if they have a spare room I could stay in or something like that.
Okay, that's a whole role-playing encounter, sir, and I'm excited. I mean, I am happy to have that with you.
I actually did have one real quick thing. So with my craft, would that apply just to the ammo or to the weapons as well?
To the weapons as well.
Okay, because I basically, while she's working on this, I wanted to try to craft something that I could use in the meantime, just to keep myself safe, because it's the only weapon I really got. But I didn't know how long it would take to craft that.
Quite a while. Firearms, a
Like-
complex piece of machinery. You're probably looking at like roughly a week. You could
Okay.
try to cut it in half, depending upon what your skill is, but it is a rather difficult process to produce.
Okay, then I might just get myself a better room as well.
Okay.
6:35. Oh, I actually do have something else that I need to do as well, but we can do his stuff.
Okay. I am
But yeah,
going to, before we go too much further, just decide what you're doing for your room. But
Yeah.
we're going to need to run down this chain for Arius then, or Arvos then, before we go anywhere else. So I assume Arius then kind of says, hey guys, I'm going to go find a place to stay if you guys are going to look for one yourselves as you come into town.
Yeah.
Okay. So you head
You said it'd
over.
be about a week, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'll get 7 days for myself as well.
Okay.
In the good one.
Okay. So, Arvos, you head over to your family's estate. And in Chrysaisen, it's kind of a weird thing to see because as you come up on it, like there's not a lot of traditional house style things. A lot of stuff is more condos or apartments or inns. There's not a lot of long-term living space here. But as you get to this kind of area that's been sort of cloistered out from the rest of the world, you come across one of the largest landscapes in all of Chrysaisen. It is you would know it to be the third largest place, the third largest like homestead in Chrysaisen. It is on a mighty large piece of land, especially considering how much land goes for here in Chrysaisen. The house is near palatial. It looks like somebody sort of carved down a keep into a much smaller form factor. And there is like a long run-up surrounded by a massive fence around the outside. And as you step up to the gates, the doorman will look to you, and he'll be a little bit surprised. You would know the doorman to be... I didn't name him, so I need to do so now.
Erdor McDorrington.
Odor.
No.
Actually, I just realized that I wouldn't do that because it doesn't make sense for me to spend a week making a weapon while I'm waiting for her to make me a weapon.
You would know him to be Johann. He is a tall and gangly elf, with very thin and short hair. He almost looks like he's aging like a human would with the way his hair is, but not quite. Like there's enough hair there to feel, to still be elven in nature, but it is definitely thinner than you would see in most elves.
Greetings, Johann. Does not seem the guarding life suits you. It seems you've aged twice as much as I since I've been here last.
Master Aravos, you've come back. Oh no.
Just for a visit.
Oh no. I mean, oh no. Damn it.
What does that mean, Johann?
I mean, when you left here, did you think it was on good terms?
No, but I don't think my family would turn me away for a quick visit.
I suppose not. Well, I do hope that they don't rip into you too hard.
I've been through worse.
Very
I'm
well.
entering under Heracles. Have you heard of him?
I have heard of Heracles, yes. The good master does speak very strongly of him. It is good to see that you're well, and that travel has not brought any maladies upon you.
Not yet.
Please. And he'll open the gate and offer you pass.
I'll be right back.
I'm not gonna be like murdered for like do I have like a sense of like what I'm in for? Like, are they just gonna like be pissed off at me?
You know that, first of all, being pissed off doesn't happen here. There is no ability for you to exceed a certain emotional threshold in either a positive, negative, or other direction. But you really don't know what you're about to walk into. It's been a long time since you've seen your family, and you kind of left saying that you didn't need them and that you were going off to sort of venture out on your own and prove your own worth.
Mm-hmm.
And here you are, coming back to see your family. A changed man, but still the man you were.
Yeah, I just walk up to the entrance.
Yep. As you get to the door, you will see Olive there waiting at the door. Oh my God, it's you! Olive is a rather androgynous figure to look upon. Very long, flowing golden hair at their back. Their eyes seem like they are silver with little flecks of silver kind of glowing behind their glowing in their pupils. And their build is that kind of elven slender, and they keep themselves in clothing that doesn't really tell you much about who or what they might be otherwise. But they are always looking rather sharp in their outfit, clean, and well-groomed. It's so good to see you again. Do they know you're coming?
This is quite a surprise visit.
I'm sure they will be quite surprised. Have you heard? Then?
Heard what?
Your mother is not doing so well as of late.
How bad is she?
Well, she's not approaching the door to the afterlife, but she is... Well, she's putting herself on a fast track, we might say. I suppose it's probably best for you to see it. I think it could take some of the sting away. It is its own thing to behold for the first time.
Okay, very cryptic.
Yes, well, sometimes you know how they get if you're a little too forthcoming about things with people without their permission.
I understand.
She'll open the door and allow you in. And as she lets you in, she steps in behind you and proclaims, "Here beckons Aravos Salamander of House Salamander." And as such, a few moments later, your father will stand at the steps, at the highest steps of the foyer, looking down at you. The look doesn't seem cross, per se, to a normal person, but Aravos, having lived in this environment where emotion just cannot happen, would know what this look is. It is the look of stifled anger. "Hello, son. It's
Father,
to see you."
you as well.
"I suppose if you're back, you've accomplished much, or have decided yourself a failure. Which is it?"
Always the Joker. Neither, it would seem. I'm still progressing on my goal for greatness. And part of that journey has led me back here, unfortunately.
Oh, and you felt you would pay us a visit, did you?
More so, perhaps a business arrangement than a visit.
Business arrangement. What have you come to have that might be of value to us?
Well, I've come seeking some of our records and perhaps the use of some facilities here in exchange for perhaps some spells I've acquired or out of character. I don't know what I know what my family would value in exchange for this.
It's
Like, do they value spells or anything like that?
It's actually kind of rough here because your family trades in things so valuable that oftentimes money doesn't mean much. They're often looking for rare and interesting trinkets or valuable information they can use against their enemies to make sure they maintain a stranglehold on the market.
Thinking on it, doesn't seem I have much that would be extremely valuable to you. But perhaps it would be a favor in exchange for future. I am mentoring under Heracles, as you know. I am bound for
I know.
great and powerful things.
We have heard Heracles speak of you. As if dropping your name will somehow get him some leverage with us. Fool. Well,
He is many things, but a fool he is not.
I see he's twisted your thoughts too. Typical. I'll take your deal. But let's make it truly fair, shall we? If you want access to our resources, the family's resources, let's make this very fair. A mere favor isn't all that we want. This needs to be a truly profound favor. I don't have something for you quite yet, but rest assured I will. And so I will allow it with this. And he will, make a gesture in the air for a moment, a few hand motions, and then a contract will roll out from his fingertips. Now, you're well aware of this spell, I'm sure. Which you are, actually. Your family is one of the very first spells that started their wealth was a very special kind of magic that they produced. Contractual magic. Magic that upon two parties inscribing their name upon a scroll will put into effect a spell that has a non-ending duration and has a contingency style effect that will occur to the person that is similar to the negative effects of a Gaius, and the initial effects of a Gaius. So, at the time you agree to a spell, you're kind of signing a delayed Gaius on you. At the time you're given a quest, you are given a quest that you cannot save against. You automatically fail to this Gaius, and you automatically are subject to the terms of the Gaius as it stands. There's room in the contract to specify exit clauses, so ways you can get out of it if it exceeds certain variables. And the two of you can go back and forth to negotiate these variables. For example, you can negotiate things like immediate harm. There's a lot of legalese in here, but part of this is why this is kind of its own school of magic. Because it's like somebody took contract law and created an entire arcanography around it.
So I imagine my father's probably more skilled at this than I am, so maybe he gets away with being more favorable in some of the terms than I would like, probably.
Well, if you have no ranks in knowledge law, you can give me a knowledge arcana to do your best at it.
Okay. I obviously do my best to...
Oh, God, that's amazing.
I don't want to be like a dick and be like, hey, I get it away from free. You know what I mean? I want to be somewhat fair, but I don't want to... when you mention this, I just don't want him to send me on a mission that's to betray Heracles or endanger the whole party and make me super kill something. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Extreme.
With a 35, what you do is you're basically writing in conditions that don't put you in a position where you will one way or another be utterly intentionally obliterating yourself. So there are conditions here that you have that are I won't jump in front of fireballs or other powerful damaging effects for you. I won't go into something where, to my knowledge, the threat is exceedingly greater in power than I am. I will not challenge anyone that I have personal contractual obligations to. So this protects you from suddenly having to attack your party or suddenly having to go against Heracles or the military. Like you make sure with this 35 to make sure the conditions are reasonably fair. And so what this means is that when the time comes and I tell you this is happening, you and I will negotiate what seems fair, and we'll do that out of character to try to make sure, like, here's what's going on, here's what you need to do. Let's talk about like how this is and what this feels like, and see if there is a loophole in this that you might be able to exploit. If not, then you will be subject to the Gaius as it stands.
All right.
But otherwise, you will have access to the greater majority of your family's resources that are not the spells that they have on hand. So they will you'll have access to research books about spells. You'll have access to the material components that they have here, but you will not have access to the spells themselves. Those are kept locked up separately and very well worded.
Will I have access to their ledgers of who they sell to? Like, I'm sure they keep a customer list. Is this something I could peruse or no?
It is unlikely you'd be able to get at that. That is also kept very, very protected.
So yeah, we can flip to someone else.
Yeah,
if you want. But eventually, I would like to see my mother and see what's up with her and stuff like that.
Okay.
We can do that after.
So what I actually want to do here is there is a little bit of in-between stuff I want to take care of and make sure I'm not interrupted by. So let's take a short break here, and then we'll get down into the meat and potatoes of what I was excited. I mean, what I am happy to unfurl for you. See you guys in a bit.